The episode begins with Team Avatar setting up camp, and Sokka bringing only nuts for dinner. As they talk, they hear loud noises nearby. Aang and Katara go to check it out, with Sokka reluctantly following. They find a young earthbender practicing alone, but he runs away when Katara speaks to him. Aang suggests they follow him, hoping to find a town with real food, and they arrive at a small village filled with FireNation soldiers. They find the same young man and follow him into a store. Inside, they see him talking to his mother and ask why he ran away. The young man, Haru, and his mother explain that the FireNation controls the town, and any earthbender caught is arrested and sent to a prison rig far away. Haru's mother also tells them that his father was taken to the rig. Later that day, Haru and Katara go for a walk, share their stories, and grow close. They find an old man trapped in a cave-in, and Haru uses his earthbending to save him. That night, while the group sleeps, FireNation soldiers arrive with the old man, who reported Haru, and arrest him for earthbending. The next morning, Katara learns from Haru's mother that he was sent to the prison rig. Determined to rescue him, Katara decides to trick the FireNation into thinking she's an earthbender so she can get arrested and sent to the rig too. After some planning, Katara pretends to be an earthbender with help from Aang and some ventilation pipes while FireNation soldiers watch. She is quickly arrested and sent to the prison rig. There, she meets other captives and the warden, a proud and cruel man who says the earthbenders are powerless because the rig is made entirely of metal, giving them nothing to bend. After finding Haru and his father, Tyro, Katara asks how they plan to escape. Tyro tells her that escape isn't possible and that they must obey orders and hope the war ends in their favor. Shocked by his hopelessness, Katara gives an inspiring speech to the other earthbenders, but they ignore her. That night, she secretly meets with Aang and Sokka to plan a way to restore the prisoners' confidence. Aang notices smokestacks in the distance and points out that they're burning coal, which means there is earth on the rig the prisoners can bend. Using their earlier trick, Sokka has Aang close all the vents except one leading to where he and Katara are. This builds pressure and sends coal bursting out of the vent in front of Haru and the other prisoners. The warden finds them and demands they surrender or die, and Katara urges the earthbenders to fight back, but no one moves. The warden declares that their spirits were broken long before Katara arrived and walks away, confident. As the warden walks away, a chunk of coal hits him in the back of the head. He turns to see Haru, furious and ready to fight. The warden attacks, but Tyro and two other earthbenders block him. Inspired, the other prisoners join the fight, and after a tough battle, defeat the FireNation soldiers with help from Team Avatar. Tyro prepares to throw the warden and soldiers overboard. When the warden begs for mercy, saying he can't swim, Tyro replies, "I heard cowards float," and drops them into the water. Team Avatar and the earthbenders escape on stolen FireNation ships, and Tyro and Haru thank Katara for restoring hope to their people. Katara is moved by their words but suddenly realizes her mother's necklace is missing. Back on the rig, Prince Zuko finds the torn necklace on the deck. He picks it up, stares out at the horizon with a blank expression, and the episode ends. The episode begins with the group arriving at an Earth Kingdom forest and spotting a large black scar in the middle of it. They land and discover the forest was burned by FireNation soldiers, and Aang blames himself, feeling it's the Avatar's duty to protect nature. Katara comforts him, pointing out that the forest will regrow and shows him acorns on the ground as a sign of hope. Suddenly, an old man appears and asks the Avatar for help. He takes them to Senlin village, where many buildings are in ruins. The villagers explain that a spirit named Hei Bai is attacking them, and Aang agrees to help, though he doubts his ability to stop the spirit. Meanwhile, Iroh is relaxing in a self-heated pool he's turned into a personal jacuzzi. Zuko grows impatient and urges him to get ready so they can continue searching for the Avatar. Iroh agrees, but when he stands up, he's completely naked. Disgusted, Zuko tells Iroh he can take a few more minutes but warns he'll be left behind if not ready in half an hour. Iroh shrugs and sinks back into the water, quickly falling asleep. He is woken up later by a noise, and thinking it's an ambush, jumps to attention. Realizing it's just a meadow vole, he relaxes and gently picks it up, speaking to it calmly. Noticing he has missed Zuko's time limit, Iroh shrugs it off, and just then, Earth Kingdom soldiers ambush him, recognizing him as a former FireNation general. At sunset, Aang goes out to confront the spirit and waits for it to appear. When nothing happens, he starts to walk away, but the spirit suddenly appears behind him. Aang tries to communicate, but the spirit ignores him and begins destroying houses with energy blasts from its mouth. Sokka rushes out to help but is captured and taken by the spirit. Aang chases after them, and during the pursuit, unexpectedly finds himself in the spirit world. Zuko arrives later with 2 soldiers and notices a landslide formation near the pool where Iroh was resting. He deduces that Iroh was captured by earthbenders and sets off to find him. Meanwhile, Earth Kingdom soldiers are transporting Iroh, chained and riding on ostrich horses, back to Ba Sing Se, the city he once besieged for 600 days. Iroh admits he was defeated, saying he and his men were exhausted and that he still is. Pretending to fall asleep, he secretly drops his smelly sandal as a clue for Zuko to follow. In the spirit world, Aang meets a dragon, who is revealed to be Avatar Roku's companion, Fang. Fang carries Aang to a temple on a crescent-shaped island, where Aang sees Roku's statue and learns that Roku wants to speak with him about a comet. The only time they can communicate is during the winter solstice. Meanwhile, Iroh sees Aang flying on Fang and uses the distraction to trick his captors. He asks them to tighten his chains, and when a soldier does so, Iroh secretly heats the metal by snorting on it. The soldier burns his hand and cries out, giving Iroh a chance to break free. He makes a daring escape attempt but is quickly recaptured, and the soldiers then begin to argue about what to do with him. The dragon returns Aang to his body, and he learns the spirit is angry because the forest, its home, was destroyed. Aang goes back to the village, where Katara is relieved to see him. He tells her he hasn't found Sokka but is ready to face the spirit. Meanwhile, the earthbenders prepare to crush Iroh's hands with a large rock, but just before they do, Zuko arrives and kicks the rock away. He breaks Iroh's chains with a swift kick. Iroh praises Zuko, and together, they defeat the soldiers. At sunset, Aang gives the spirit an acorn to show that the forest will grow back. The spirit, now revealed as a panda, calms down and leaves the village, causing bamboo stalks to appear, and the captured villagers and Sokka emerge from them. Aang then tells Katara and Sokka that he must travel to a temple in the FireNation to speak with Avatar Roku by sunset tomorrow, the day of the solstice. On the morning of the solstice, Aang packs his things and tries to get Appa to fly, but the bison refuses to move. Aang explains that Katara and Sokka aren't coming, as he doesn't want to put them in danger. He plans to go to the temple alone. After being thrown off by the rains, Katara, Sokka, and some villagers stop him, saying the trip isn't necessary. Aang insists it's the only way to understand his vision of a comet, and only Avatar Roku can explain it. In the end, Katara and Sokka agree to let him go, but only if they go with him. The village leader gives Aang some supplies and warns that they must leave immediately if they want to reach Avatar Roku's temple before the solstice ends. Later, there's a knock at the leader's door, and when he opens it, Prince Zuko stands there. Zuko pushes him back inside and demands to know where the Avatar went. Later, while flying, Katara sees Zuko's ship following them. Iroh warns Zuko that entering FireNation waters is risky since he's banished and could be arrested. Zuko insists his father will understand, but Iroh says Ozai isn't the understanding type. Back on Appa, Katara and Sokka see a catapult being prepared, and a flaming missile is launched at them, but Appa dodges it. Zuko orders another shot, but then spots a FireNation blockade ahead. Iroh reminds him they're still in Earth Kingdom waters and can turn back, but Zuko refuses and orders the ship to run the blockade. The blockade is led by Zhao, and using a spyglass, he spots both Appa and Zuko's ship and orders his men to fire at the Avatar. A barrage of flaming shots is launched, and Aang dodges the attacks as they fly past Appa. Zuko's ship is hit, and smoke pours from it. One crew member reports engine damage and says they need to stop for repairs, but Zuko refuses and orders them to keep going. As Aang dodges more fireballs, a blast from 2 colliding shots knocks Sokka off Appa, but Appa dives and catches him. Aang then directs Appa to charge straight through the center of the blockade. Zhao fires one last shot at close range, but Aang leaps from Appa and destroys the fireball with airbending, and they soar past the blockade. Frustrated that the Avatar got through, Zhao realizes he must follow but doesn't know where Aang is going. When Zuko's damaged ship approaches, Zhao lets it pass, planning to follow it to the Avatar. Meanwhile, after hours of flying, Appa finally reaches the crescent-shaped island just before dusk. Exhausted, he rests while Aang, Katara, and Sokka enter the temple. The first room appears empty, but 5 men in red robes suddenly appear. They introduce themselves as the Fire Sages, guardians of the Avatar's temple. Believing they will help him, Aang reveals he is the Avatar, but instead of helping, the sages attack. Aang blocks their strikes, and the group runs through the temple's halls, eventually hitting a dead end. When they turn back, one of the sages is already there, blocking their way. Aang gets ready to fight, but the sage quickly says he's on their side. The group is unsure at first, but when they hear the others approaching, the sage proves himself by opening a secret passage and helping them escape. Meanwhile, on his damaged ship, Zuko questions why Zhao let them pass. Iroh explains that Zhao is following them, expecting Zuko to lead him to the Avatar. Realizing his uncle is right, Zuko remarks that if Zhao wants to follow their trail of smoke, he's welcome to try. Back at the temple, the friendly sage introduces himself as Shyu. He explains that after Avatar Roku died, the sages, including his grandfather, waited for the next Avatar, but Aang never appeared. When Fire Lord Sozin began the 100-Year War, the sages were forced to serve him, and only Shyu's family stayed loyal to the Avatar. When the sages learned Aang was alive, Shyu knew he would have to betray them to help. He leads the group to a higher level of the temple, where a large door blocks the way. Shyu says it was recently closed and can only be opened by a fully realized Avatar or 5 fire blasts from 5 different firebenders. No one knows how to open it, but Sokka starts thinking of a plan. Zuko boards a smaller vessel and tells Iroh to keep heading north so Zhao will follow the smoke trail. He plans to use it as cover to slip away, and from a distance, Zhao watches Zuko's ship through a telescope. Meanwhile, Sokka explains his plan. He makes 5 small oil bombs and places them in the holes on the door, and Shyu lights the fuse. The blast shakes the room, and Shyu warns Aang to hurry before the other sages arrive. Aang rushes to the door, but it hasn't opened, and frustrated, he tries hitting it with airbending. Sokka is confused, but Katara says the plan didn't work, yet it looked like it did. The others don't understand what she means. Shyu calls out to the other sages, claiming the Avatar has entered the chamber. They see burn marks on the door and a moving shadow inside. Believing Aang is in, they combine their firebending to open the door, only to find Momo, who had crawled in through the pipes. Shyu, Katara, Sokka, and Momo quickly grab the 4 sages, and Shyu yells for Aang to enter, but there's no response. Suddenly, Zuko appears from behind a pillar, holding Aang captive. The sages break free and restrain the others, and Zuko orders the door closed. Aang sees Katara and Sokka being tied up. He breaks free and dives through the doors just as they close, and a bright light glows from inside Roku's sanctuary, then fades. Now sealed inside the chamber, Aang looks up at Avatar Roku's statue, unsure of what to do. Outside, Zuko and the 4 sages try to open the door but fail, and one sage says Roku must have sealed it himself to keep him out. Frustrated, Aang calls out to Roku, and as sunlight hits the statue's face, its eyes glow, and clouds swirl around Aang. When the smoke clears, Aang finds himself on a desolate mountaintop, face to face with Avatar Roku, who greets him with a smile. Outside, Zuko asks Shyu why he helped Aang, and Shyu replies that it was and still is the Fire Sage's duty to serve the Avatar. Suddenly, Zhao arrives with a group of soldiers and orders Zuko's arrest. When Zuko mocks him, saying the Avatar is locked away, Zhao calmly replies that he'll wait for Aang to come out. Roku tells Aang the reason they had to meet and explains the meaning of the comet. He says that about 100 years ago, a comet appeared and greatly increased Firebender's power. Fire Lord Sozin used it to launch the 100-Year War with a devastating first strike. Roku warns that the comet will return by the end of summer, and if Aang doesn't stop him, Fire Lord Ozai will use its power to conquer the world. He tells Aang he must master water, earth, and fire before summer ends to restore balance. Aang is overwhelmed, unsure he can do it in time, but Roku assures him he can. He's done it before. As the solstice nears its end, Aang says he won't be able to return to the Fire Temple if he has more questions. Roku reminds him that, as the Avatar, they are connected, and Aang will find a way to reach him again if needed. Before parting, Roku warns that great danger awaits Aang at the temple and offers his help, if Aang feels ready. Outside the chamber, Zhao and his soldiers prepare to attack as soon as Aang appears. When the door opens in a flash of light and smoke, they fire, only to be stunned when Avatar Roku steps out instead of Aang. Roku redirects their fire with powerful bending, knocking them back and melting the chains on Katara, Sokka, Shyu, and Zuko, freeing them. Zuko quickly escapes, followed by Zhao and his men, and Roku turns his glowing eyes on the remaining fire sages, who flee in fear. Shyu urges Katara and Sokka to leave before Roku destroys the temple, but they refuse to go without Aang. Roku raises magma from the volcano beneath the temple, splitting the ground as the structure begins to collapse, and Zhao and his soldiers retreat to their ships. As the sun sets and the solstice ends, the beam of sunlight moves off Roku's statue, and he disappears in a swirl of smoke. When it clears, Aang is left behind, exhausted, and Katara and Sokka rush to help him. With the temple crumbling and all exits blocked by lava except for a hole in the wall leading to open air, they seem trapped. Just then, Appa arrives with Momo, who's now wearing the Great Sage's hat. The group jumps onto Appa, and as they fly away, the temple collapses into the lava below. From the deck of his ship, Zhao watches the Avatar fly away and, furious at his failure, says bitterly that all he has are 5 traitors. The Great Sage tries to explain that only Shyu helped the Avatar, but Zhao ignores him and orders all 5 fire sages to be thrown into the prison hold. Meanwhile, Zuko, who is now safe on his own ship, also watches the Avatar disappear into the sky. That night, Katara and Sokka kneel beside a weary Aang, comforting him as the episode ends.